Terra's Story, Chapter 7. The warmth of the fire felt good in the chill of the night, even after the sunset breeze settled down. Terra lay with her head in Simeona's lap, absorbing the love in the soft brown hand that stroked her forehead. She sighed a long, comfy release. Her belly was full of plantains Mamo had roasted and nuts and fruits she'd pulled out of the voluminous bag she'd brought. They'd drunk the pure water from the pool beneath the waterfall. I haven't felt like this since I was a little girl, Terra thought, trying to remember the last time she'd been so nurtured. She twisted a bit until she could look into Simeona's face. Mamo, thank you. Wherever we go from here, I'm so glad to have healed some of your pain? To have discovered powers you didn't know you had? Simeona's face showed all the compassion Terra remembered. Yes. Reluctantly, Terra sat up. Some of those memories that flashed past, I hope they're gone for good. Like the ones from the night Sam found you? Simeona asked. Terra flinched, then frowned as the expected stab of pain didn't come. She looked over to find Simeona gazing at her. Han, healing doesn't wipe the memory. It just takes the hurt so it doesn't trigger you again. And again. And again. Are you ready to talk about it? Talking will be the final release, you know. Will it? I've been afraid, but now I feel so different. Terra shivered, not from the chill since the fire was still strong, and settled herself. Mamo, I've never told. Okay, here goes. She looked over again and found Simeona gazing into the fire, patiently waiting. She was swaying a little, her arms around her knees, in time to a silent tune. Sam, I miss him, Mamo. I loved him so much. We thought, Terra sighed. Yes, Han, we all thought you two would have a beautiful life together. His death was a great tragedy. Simeona sighed, too. Guess I'll never know how long that psychopath was watching me. I never felt him. I never felt watched. I was having so much fun swimming with those dolphins, I felt like I was in heaven. That cove is a special place, Han. That dolphin family loved you too, so they would have put a circle of energetic protection around you. Simeona looked thoughtful. I was skinny dipping too. I hadn't planned to swim. I just wanted to be alone with the nature spirits. But who can resist a dolphin family calling you into the water? Terra smiled, remembering. No one in their right mind. Simeona chuckled. Terra chuckled too. We'd played for about an hour, I guess. I lost track of time, but the sun was lowering, I remember that, and I was tired and hungry. I guess that made me a little weak too, though I felt really good. She pulled her knees up and rested her head on them. I decided I had enough energy to climb the cliff to watch the sunset. I'd barely sat down when he pounced. Terra shuddered a little, but Simeona was right. The trigger was gone. I heard shuffling on the rocks behind me, then he had his arm around my throat and his knife digging into my side. She paused, then spoke the words she'd thought but never voiced. I went from heaven to hell in one moment. Simeona grunted, then nodded without speaking. He called me bitch and cunt and other horrible names, Mamo. He said things that made no sense at all, except that he was crazy. His energy was crazy. He cut me, stabbed my side, and laughed when he saw my blood on the knife. He threw me to the ground, fell on top of me. He was heavy and gross and stinking, and I couldn't get away. He kept grinding me into the rocks while he pulled himself out of his pants. Then he tore into the flesh between my legs. I screamed so loud. He laughed and snarled, pounded harder, kept pounding until I was one big ball of hurt. When he went limp and rolled off me, I couldn't even move. It didn't seem to matter. He got up on his knees and reached for his knife. I turned quickly enough that he hit to the side of my throat, but it bled enough to fool him, I guess. I lay still with my eyes closed and he didn't check my pulse. He just got up, zipped his pants, said, "Cunt," one more time, and shuffled away. Oh, darlin', Simeona whispered. I got up, Mamo, and started running away from the direction I'd heard him go. I didn't know where I was running, but toward the road, I think. I don't know how far I'd gone. I wasn't actually running. I could barely stumble, kept falling down, but I had to get out of there. And Sam found you? Tears trickled down Simeona's face. Yes, I ran right into him. I didn't know it was him at first. I fought him. But I collapsed, and he caught me. For the first time in a long time, Terra let herself remember the feel of Sam's big body and how protected she felt in his arms. Always. She wept now, grateful to remember. He took me home. Kale had gone into town, so the house was empty. I remember how he took care of me, Mamo. He was so careful, so tender, in spite of how angry he was. I saw the way his jaw was clenched. He didn't try to pretend he wasn't crying either. The depth of his love for her rolled over Terra again. I was so exhausted, Mamo, and so weak. I ate something he brought me, don't remember what. I hurt all over, and I just wanted not to think, not to feel. I think he carried me from the kitchen table to the bedroom. I did go unconscious, finally. I think I might have woke up screaming once, but Sam sang to me and I fell back asleep and didn't dream anymore. Terra stood, awkward with stiffness from sitting so long, and stretched. She looked around, noting that she was in a reality 30 years in the future from the story. The story still hung there, waiting to be told, but yes, it was different. She certainly felt some of the same emotions she could remember feeling, but no lightning bolts of adrenaline charged through her anymore. Simeona clambered up, too. She leaned way back with her hands on her hips and moved her head back and forth to loosen the tight muscles. Han, can the story rest a bit? There's so much to absorb, stories behind this story and beneath it, energies to read, you know? Terra nodded. Yes, Mamo, I'm feeling that too. Just in telling you, I'm getting a clearer picture. Like it's coming into focus and there's more than I saw before. There's another perspective my guides want me to see. Simeona exhaled. Terra, Han, that's the first time you've mentioned your guides since you came. Have they not been talking or have you not been listening? Terra pursed her lips while she thought. A little of both, I think, Mamo. When I was in so much pain, I was mad at them. I thought they'd failed me, screwed up, or didn't tell me the truth. Now I'm wondering if they stopped talking because I stopped listening, or I defaulted to old patterns and didn't do what they suggested. She looked up, and her face smoothed out. I'm glad I can hear him again. I don't want to lose the ground I'm gaining here. Miracle to miracle, Han. It's really possible to live that way. You just gotta decide to trust it. Then you get used to things flowing so smoothly and living gets to be easier, more fun too. Then you start looking forward to seeing how things are going to come together. Simeona nodded as she spoke. Terra looked around and found a place under the banyan tree where leaves had fallen, in a hollow. They softened the ground, and the protruding edges of roots that stretched several feet away blocked the breeze. Simeona pulled a light blanket from her bottomless bag and handed it to Terra, who wrapped it around her, curled up in the hollow, and was immediately asleep. Simeona watched her for a while. Oh, my poor baby girl. You been through it all right. You don't even realize what a strong woman you are, how amazing is everything you've tried to do. I'm going to do what I can to fix that. Then Simeona stretched out on her back by the fire and turned her gaze to the heavens. Between the leaves overhead, messages came twinkling from the stars that made her smile as her eyes drifted closed.